talk about pricing. This is something that I got sparked here recently, and I'm going to hammer on this, and I'm going to show you why it is important. This is not fairy dust. This is not fairyland. This is me going to show you how you can get higher tickets. And when we get higher tickets, I'm going to show you what we can do with having higher tickets. Yes, you can go for the cheap guy, and yes, you can make money, but I'm not for that. I am to show you how to get high tickets, because 9 times out of 10, the cheap guys never last, right? And it doesn't matter if you're old, if you're young, whatever you might be. This is something for you, so that way you will be able to grow a successful business. You know, one of the things that I always like to do is, what happens if something happens to you? Do you have a business that will keep on going, or will you have a business that goes out of business because you are gone and you're no longer there? What is your goal? What is your thing that you need to do at the end of the day? And so that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm sure I'm going to get somebody on here that that kind of sparked this conversation. Actually, I've heard this conversation about 3 times this week. 3 to 4 times I've heard this. And then not only am I going to talk about what the importance is, I'm actually going to show you some ways that you can bid, so that way you kind of understand what I'm talking about. And I'm actually going to show it on my other screen here that I will be pulling up here. So these are some things that I am going to do, so that way you can understand of how to grow a successful pressure washing business that makes money, that's profitable, right? That's the key, profitable, so that your business can keep going. About to bounce back, bigger than ever. Wrecked nearly took me and my company out. Big things are coming, minor setbacks, right? And so these are things that we want to talk about. And yes, I am going to hit on this and the importance of this. And this is not fairyland. You can do $1,000 jobs versus $1,000 jobs, right? And this is something that I literally had the conversation with this person that said, Jason, you're talking about fairyland, and it's not fairyland. I promise you, there's people over and over and over that can do $1,000 jobs on average. Now, that's not say everybody. You know, most people are going to be anywhere from 600 to 1,000, but the couple people that I'm going to be talking about are been in business for 5, 7, 8 years, and their average ticket's only less than $500 a thing. $500 is less than their average ticket. They're $500 or less at this. And this isn't just one person I'm picking on. I'm picking on about 2 or 3 of you that I'm going to be pointing out. I'm not going to give names. I'm not going to be pointing you out too much, but I'm just going to show you what happens and what we could do, right? What could we do if we raise our average ticket so we can get better marketing, so we can get more jobs? And no, we don't need to close every job. I see so many people are like, yeah, I got a 70, 80% close rate. You're too cheap, right? Well, my close rate will go down, blah, 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 right? And so we're going to hit on all of these things tonight. And so with that, the thing that I'm going to hit on tonight for my book of the week, again, it is the Ultimate Sales Machine. I would highly recommend you to read it. It is a great book. You will learn lots of stuff from it. Actually, if you're in my mentorship, if you join King of Pressure Wash, and I will be going through it as a group. We're going to go through it as a group, so that way we can kind of take what everybody learns from it and kind of chew on it and see what we can do to take action, so that way we can be better at what we are doing. And so tonight it is sponsored by kingofmarketing.io. If you need a website, if you need a phone numbers, if you need a business solution, I recommend kingofmarketing.io. One other thing before we get started here, if you want to go check out in-person pressure washing training, this is actually training that you get to do. And I will be texting him tomorrow, but I am planning on doing permanent Christmas lights will be the second half. So Friday will be all about pressure washing, hands-on pressure washing, how to pressure wash. The second day is going to be how to run a business, marketing, all of that. Depending on how much he needs for permanent Christmas lights on Sunday, will be maybe some permanent Christmas lights on Saturday afternoon. And then all day Sunday is how to install permanent lighting. So if you're thinking about getting into permanent lighting, go check this one out. This is for the Cincinnati class. I know it might say Cincinnati Christmas lights, but it's going to be permanent lighting in Cincinnati. It's not actually in Cincinnati, but when you fly into Cincinnati, you actually fly into Northern Kentucky, and the hotel is about 10 minutes away from the airport. So it is something to think about. But before we get going here, let's see who all we have in the house. We got Mr. Caleb from Iowa, I believe. Scott Ferguson. TC's what's up? Joseph, how are you doing? Hey Jason, getting tired of this cold. You and me both. I am done with it. I hate cold weather. I'm ready to go. I might move to Florida because I hate it so much. What's up, Zerny? How are you doing? I'm here from Massachusetts. Only a few more weeks before my season goes up to New York full force. Hey everyone, how are you doing? Why is this being stupid already? So you love technology, right? Love technology. We got somebody across the world. Mr. Jordan is in Australia, I think. I don't remember. Australia, somewhere across the... I think it's like usually like 4 o'clock in the morning his time. Dedication, baby, dedication. I downloaded that book. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Money bushes are awesome. We love money bushes. You're here every live, so you have seen him advertise it. You can't see the web link of Facebook Live. Well, that's stupid. I don't know what web link it is. Permalighting, Inception or Million. It will be Million is what it will be, the Million ones, for sure. Just ordered the first 200 money bushes of the season here in Wisconsin. It's going to be the other side of the screen. Yeah, I will have the screen up here when I start showing it here. This year is going to be 3x last year. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Awesome, awesome up. What's up? Always a great show. Here for now. How's Mr. Teak? Hopefully you don't get a run. I'm putting out yard signs at 3 a.m. in the morning. South Africa. I knew it was across the country somewhere. We got one in UK, and I'm sure I know we got a few from Mr. We got a few from Canada. Canada, 25 signs in a week, no job, sheesh. April can not get here fast enough. For sure. Funny thing is, only 45 minutes north here where I live, you can get the snow and we don't. Yep, and you got the ice last time. We didn't get nothing. That's what happens there. Doing all right. Bidding on a school this week. Sweet. We love that stuff. Rhode Island. All right, so let's talk about pricing, because pricing is one of these things that I think is either the make or break of your business, right? If you don't understand pricing, you don't understand the business. Now, how do we get to the pricing, right? First off, we need to know what our cost is. You know, a lot of times I see people be like, they're just like, I'm making $100 an hour, right? But they really don't know what their cost is. They don't know how much it costs them to go get in their truck and drive to the job and do the work. We need to make sure we have all our insurances. We have everything for our numbers. If we don't know our numbers, we're just shooting in the air and hoping for the best. Now, I know a lot of you do it this way. I did it that way for a long time, but that's not how we're going to grow and scale. That's not how we're going to get our business to be able to get it to where we want it to be, that if something happened to you today, that your business will keep running, right? The goal is that your business will keep running. Now, I understand not everybody wants to grow their business. Not everybody wants to get to $500,000. Not everybody wants to get to $1 million. Some people will be very happy if they get to 50,000, and that is fine. That is 100% fine. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, But I do know that if something happens to you, I'll give you, for instance, last year there was a guy that was cleaning out gutters, and it was on a 1-story, and he was up on a deck on an A-frame ladder, and he went up and he slipped and fell and broke his back, right? He was done. I got another guy that he started his pressure washing business, quit his full-time job, don't have insurance, and he like a couple months later found out he needed a hip replacement. He was done at that point. And so, and this person that I'm talking about that got his hip replacement, he wouldn't be where he's at now if he didn't get that hip replacement, right? Because it forced him to put other people in his business that he probably would have been like, no, I can't do that, right? But this forced him so that he had to start growing his business. And this is Jeremy Main. I actually just literally talked to him today. And so we were talking about pricing. And so pricing is one of those things that if you don't think you're worth it, you're right. You're not worth it. Because if you don't believe in yourself, you don't believe in the product you're selling, you don't believe in the things that you need to do to make you set yourself apart, you won't be able to sell high ticket pricing. And you know, the first thing I always get out of this is, well, it only going to take an hour and a half. Okay, so you're only worth $100 an hour. You're only worth $200 an hour. You're not saying that you could be worth $500 an hour. You're not worth $1,000 an hour. What about the time it took you to drive there, drive back, go get the chemicals for it, order the chemicals that you need? What about all that time? All you're looking at and focusing on is, I pulled up to this job and it took me an hour. But what was the other stuff that came along with it? Did you answer the phone? When did you get the quote out? When did the text? All those other things that spend time is counted into that job. Just like Nathan put here, if you don't know your numbers, you can't make accurate goals and ultimately will not be profitable. And this is 100% true, right? It's one of those things that a lot of times we're just like, I think this, right? Here, we're just going to throw it up in the air and hopefully that by the time everything falls, there's a couple pennies left over. And usually that's what ends up happening, right? You get to the end of the year, you didn't make enough money to get you through the winter, and now you're broke come this time of the year. Some of you are broke because you made bad decisions and bought 2 or 3 trucks, DJ, right? And so these are things that you have to think about when we are growing a business. Now, he's in a different situation than a lot of other people, but I also know people that do that, go in a bunch of debt, and then they're stuck, and then it's wintertime, and they ain't got no money, and they start selling stuff cheap, and that's what it comes down, and it is a train wreck waiting to happen, right? A train wreck waiting to happen. So it is important that we know what our cost is, and it is important to know what we are doing. And so some things I'm going to hit on here. I'm going to show some things here of what can happen with this. So for one, if we have an average ticket of $400, now I'm going to say, because the one guy that was giving me crap was like, he's booked out for 6 weeks. He's booked out for 6 weeks. I'm like, and I bet his average ticket is less than $500, and it was probably around $400, and he's doing 3 to 4 jobs a day. So let's just take an average. Let's just take an average, right? Because you're not going to do 3 jobs a day every day of the week all year long. So let's just take an average that he's doing 3 jobs a day, and his average ticket is $400 a day. And he does this 20 days a month. You know, he's going to make $24,000 for that month. And that's good money. I'm not saying that's not bad money. It's very easy to make this happen, right? And if he does that 8 months out of the year, now this is working every day for 8 months. Now, I know because August and September are going to be slow, right? It's going to be slow for those couple months. But and to be able to him do 3 jobs to do $1,200 a day every day is probably highly unlikely. It's just going to be highly unlikely, and that's even doing his average. So we're giving benefit of the doubt here, and we're giving a big benefit of the doubt. But these are things that when you do this, and he worked 8 months, and he worked 20 days a month, and he did this everything, he would be at $192,000, right? He would make $192,000 and that is what he would be at. Now, let's just say that he made his average ticket $200 more. He raised his prices, he did some things and got his prices up a little bit higher. He might have added another service. Now he can do 3 jobs a day at $1,800 a day and for 20 days, and he'll be at $36,000 a month. And he will make $288,000. Just by raising your average ticket $200, you make $100,000 more. Now, let's think about that. Now, the person that his average ticket is $600, his close rate's going to be less, so he's actually going to do less jobs because that's what it is. But he's also going to be able to spend more money on marketing because the guy at $400 is only going to be able to spend $40 to be at 10%, and the guy at $600 average ticket could spend $60 for average ticket, right? And so this is something that we need to be able to do this. Being at $400 average ticket, he would have very low profit. And you know how Nathan knows this? Because Nathan did his numbers. Nathan did his numbers, and I've seen his numbers, and it cost him about $200 to go on every job, right? And that's for pressure washing. So if it costing you $200 with an average ticket of $400, that tells you're only going to make $200, but you're only there for an hour, but you got a lot of cost to only make that kind of money, right? And so when you got that mentality and you think that it's only there for an hour, hour and a half, and that is the dumbest thing ever. And I'm talking against some people that I probably would get in a good argument with, but I can show you they will never have employees because they can't afford an employee. They can't afford to put someone on the truck. They can't afford people to answer the phone, right? And so these are things that we have to think about when we are doing this so that way you can be successful. Do you want a job or do you want a business? You know, there's a difference between a job and a business. A business is so that you can start living your life, have time freedom, have financial freedom, have all that stuff. You know, I talked about this $192,000 for 6. You know, if you're at half your money is in the cost, that means you're going to be at $80,000 is what you're going to be bringing home. Now, I get that that's good, but that's no employees. That's no person answering the phone. That's nobody doing any of that. That's all you doing. And that's fine. But if you get hit by a truck or you fall off a ladder, all your money comes to a screeching halt really, really fast. Teak put my average ticket was $780. I feel that was low and really need to increase volume this year. That's pretty good average ticket. That's not a bad average ticket at all. That is definitely not a bad average ticket at all. Dreams don't work unless you do, and that's 100%. Your life is pressure washing at that point, and it is, right? It is. It literally is his life. The ones that I'm talking about, they're working 6 days a week. They're trying to make ends in, and that's where they're at. And so one of the guys, I'm not going to mention names, he might be a YouTuber, but he's in my same area. He's literally in my same area. He's literally probably half as far from my honey hole as I was for him. Like, he's probably only about 15, 20 minutes where the honey hole of Cincinnati is. And I'm going to show you where the honey hole of Cincinnati is. Actually, he's probably closer to the place I'm going to show that's a honey hole of Cincinnati. And I had an average ticket, and this was in 2017-18. I had an average ticket of $800 back then. And he still only got a $400 average ticket as of right now. And so this is the importance to get out of the mindset of a poor mindset, of a mindset that you're not worth it and you are worth it. Did you know you're worth $500 an hour? You're worth $1,000 an hour. You're worth $3,000 an hour. But Jason, it only takes an hour. Get the freaking hour out of your head, because that is your problem. You're too afraid to charge because you're like, it only takes an hour. What about your business? Do you want to be able to do things for your family that you would never been able to do? They're able to do it. The people that we're working for and the customers that we're wanting are not everybody, right? We don't want the people in the poor area. That's not our customer. You know whose customer that is? That's this other guy that don't want to make money. That's that person's customer. If that's your customer, and I'm not saying you can't make money doing this way like that. The other guy that I know that's under $500 average ticket, right? He did $180,000. He does very well. But someone here is going to do way better right here. 800 would be like 1,300, right? And so these are things that we got to do so that way we can grow our business. And I know it's hard to hear pricing sometimes. I get it, because you don't believe in yourself. You don't believe that, hey, this $800,000, $900,000 house wash and a window clean, or $1,000 house wash, that you can get it and it takes you 2 hours and you're in and out and you made $500 an hour. You don't believe it. You don't believe it to save your life, that you're worth it. You feel that you've been told you're dumb, you're stupid, whatever, and that's not the case. You can do this. There's nothing that you can't do. But time is money, and this is so true, right? People pay you because they know they're not paying you to clean their house because they probably got a pressure washer in their garage. They're paying you for the time because they would rather spend that time with their family, and that family time is worth way more than time out there spending on this here. So these are things that you have to think about when we're doing this. And I know I will get hate for this, and that is fine. I want hate on this, because if you don't understand this and if you don't believe in yourself, I will never get through you. People ask me all the time, should I start with low pricing? I say no, and this is why. If someone's going to spend $500 on a house wash, they'll probably spend $600 or $700 on the house wash. The only difference is you didn't ask for it. That's the only difference. You didn't ask for that higher price. And if you're not giving packages, so obviously that's where I'm headed next, is packages. That's how we get our average ticket up. That's how we get that extra money up there. I can do 3 houses. My average ticket I was doing $2,000 a day, $2,200 a day, every day in Cincinnati by myself when I was on the truck, and I was doing it 4 days a week. And so this is definitely something that we have to make sure that we're doing this, right? If you're not doing it, then you need to listen to it, right? Because pricing is one of those things that it is not a fairy tale. I can show you person after person after person that is getting it, right? And so I'm going to go over here, and now I'm going to show you DJ stuff, because he had high average tickets and he's had low average tickets. And I'm going to tell you the difference between high and low packages. And this is the difference right here when we get on the screen here. So you can see this is 2022. And so you can see that up here at the top is total book, average ticket, and close rate. We're not talking high close rates, right? We're not talking high close rates at all. We're talking low close rates. Low close rates are not, this is typical, right? I can show you Jeremy Main's book that he did almost $800,000 last year, and his close rate's in the same. I can show you Jason Hefner. He did $250,000, over $250,000. His close rates are the same. And so this is the point of having high tickets, so that way we can get what we want and where we want to be at. So you can see here that his average ticket is $1,100, $700, $700, $1,200, $620, $640, because this is summertime, right? Summertime always sucks. $970, $780, $1,600, right? Little old DJ, his average ticket is way better than $400 or $500. Why is that? Because it is not fantasy world. And yes, if anybody wants to know who I'm talking about, this is the guy that I'm talking about right here for this call. Now, he's just one, because I've had this conversation 3 different times this week with 3 different people. And so when I have the conversation, that means it's not getting in their head. And you want to know what's crazy about this conversation? Everybody that I've had this conversation to is been in business for a long time. A long time. A long time. This isn't like they're just starting out and they've been in business for a long time, and they wonder why they can't hire people and pay them good money. They wonder why they can't do marketing. They wonder why one of the guys was like, I'm broke and I ain't got no money and I got to get working again. Because when we ain't got no money, right, because we could have got more, we didn't go for the more. And so these are things that we have to be doing this here, right here. So this is how, and DJ was not been doing it a long time. And so this is something that if you think that you have to have this high ticket, this is why, right? So this month here, we went to Responsicon, and DJ had a $1,100 average ticket, right? He started putting bundles in there. He started doing bundles, and then he changed his bundles. He went to bundles, and then he went to small packages. He went to, a package on a house was like 3 packages just for the house wash, 3 packages for all this other things here. And so when he did it here, you can see his average ticket tanked. Now, it is July and August here, and we know that July and August are typically slow months, right? Because it's July and August. And if you didn't know that, well, I'm just telling you, July and August are slow months. And if you didn't know that, that's why you go to the Hughes convention. It's just slow across the board. I personally tried to put all my commercial in July and August, so that way there wasn't money coming in, but at least I knew in 30 to 60 days there would be money coming in. And so these are things that we have to think about when we are doing this. So the next thing I want to talk about is how do we price something, right? How do we quote, how do we price things? So I've got this house pulled up here, 6030. It's the one here with the red marker. And so the one way we can price stuff, and the easy way that I price stuff, is you can either go off total square feet, or you can go off of Zillow. Now, Zillow is not going to be 100%, it's not going to be the actual size of the house. And this is what I mean. So this house here is 6030 here. It says it's 2,800 square feet, right? Now, if you didn't know this, you can actually take Google and you can come up here and right click on here, and we can measure distance, and we can measure this house, and we're going to go here and there, and we're going to go here, and we're going to go there. Actually, this one needs to go over here, and we're going to drop that pin there, and we're going to drop that pin there. Move this pin over. And we're at 2,100 square feet, right? We're at 2,100 square feet. Now, if we go look at this house here is a 2-story house, right? And so you might say 2,100 square feet, so it's a 4,000 square feet house by the time we add all the stuff on there. And so what that means is, it's this house right here. It is 2,700 square feet, but you can see that if we took this and times it by 2, right, times this here by 2, this is going to put us at 4,000 square feet, and it's only 2,700 square feet live-in space, right? 2,700 square feet live-in space. And so what that means is if we took our price and I took a calculator, and if I did it by the actual what Zillow is, I times it by 30 cents a square foot. So if I took it and I take my calculator and I take 2,700 square feet and times that by 0.3, that puts me at an $810 house wash, right? And yes, this could be an $810 house wash. And I know I'm going to get people saying, there's nobody going to pay $810. In this neighborhood and in this whole area right here, people will pay that all day long. You know how I know? Because I did it. So that's an $810. Now, what you can also do is take that, and I said, let's just say 4,000 for easy math. If we take the 22 and times it, it's 4,000. Actually, it's 4,200. let me clear that out. 4,200, and we times that by, let's say, 17 cents a square foot. It puts me at $710, right? And so this is where we can do this, so that way we can get good pricing and get people to pay us. And yes, you know what? If you don't believe you're worth that, you are 100% right. You will not get it, because you have to ask to be able to get it. And you might say, man, Jason, you know, I'm gonna go back here to the map, because I'm gonna show you something here of where I was and where my competitor is, right? And so the competitor I'm talking about, so if I scroll out here and we get into Cincinnati here, this is Liberty Township up in here. This is all high-end area. This is super high-end area. We get up here on the 275 loop. I scrolled out too far, or nope. I gotta scroll out a little bit more. So up here on this 275 loop right in here, this is all the high-end area, this whole side over here. I've got one of my competitors that been in business for a long time, and he lives out here in BFE, out past this way, out past where the website don't go no more, and he basically does this area a year, and he's doing $500,000 a year. Mr. House Wash, or Mr. Wash, right? He's in this area right here, and this is all he focuses on right here, and he does $500,000 in this one area right here. He focuses in this area right here and does over $500,000 in pressure washing, right? It's targeting the right people. So Fort Thomas, all up this 275 loop, all the way across the top here, this is all of the money, right? You come down here in northern Kentucky, and you're down here in Union, and you're over here in Hebron, right? That's where the money is. That's where we are going to try to find it. It's all about targeting the right customer and confidence, and I wouldn't agree more 100%. Income in your area. Okay, so if you want to know what income in the area is, you can go to Justice Map here, and it will tell you what your income is in your area. So if I scroll in here and I go over here to wherever Cincinnati is right here, and you'll see that this is Hebron that I talked about. This is Union. These are the two honey holes only in northern Kentucky. But if we look at that 275 loop coming around here, you can see, look, money right there. Let me scroll out there because you can't see that. Let me move my big fat head over here. And you will see here that when I scroll here, this is $115,000, $170,000. This is the honey hole, right? All Mason, all this 275 loop. And you want to know what? Cincinnati is one of the lowest places in the country to live here. And so these are all of where the money is. And so we got Mr. Al there that's been hollering a lot and talking out of his butt a bunch, because I haven't even been paying attention, but he said he lives up here in Beaver Creek, and there's no money up here, Mr. Guyman, there's no money up here. But we look at this and look, $133,000 outside of Beaver Creek. We got $116,000 out of here. What's this over here? $98,000. We ain't got no money up here. You can't do that in my area. And the thing of it is you're right. If you believe you cannot do it, you are 100% right. You will never be able to do it because you don't believe in yourself, and that is why you have to look at data. You can't just go off of feelings. You can't be off of whatever. You have to look at what you're doing and what you're needing to do. What is the name of the app for income? Let me scroll out here a little bit more, Jack, so you can see the web. It's a pretty long website. It is energyjustice.net, energyjustice.net, and then it's justice/index. If you type in energy justice and income map, it will bring it up. Now, this is a little bit old. This is 2020, so it is a little bit old. So but it gives you an idea of where your money spots and money holes are. And so this is going back off of, if you don't know your numbers, not just your numbers at what you got, but what is your target market? Where do you want to market at? And if you don't want to use this tool, you can use a tool like EDDM. EDDM's tool will show you where those high-end markets are. It will show you where those high-end subdivisions are, right? Not everybody's our customer, and yes, people will pay for you when you're done with this. Yes, energy justice, that is correct, 100%. So these are things that you have to think about when we are trying to find where we are. Here in Florida, 30 cents a square foot is a lot. You're right. But you know what? I can show you people that are getting it. And you know what? You don't get it if you don't ask for it. And so these are things that you have to think about. You know, Jason Hefner, his very first thing when he called me and he joined my mentorship, he was one of my very first in my volley mentorship where I have volley. And he was one that was like, Jason, you'll never get that down here. And I said, follow the process. And guess what? He did $250,000 working part-time at the fire. He's full-time firefighter and full-time pressure washer, but he don't work a lot of weekends, and he only works during the week with the pressure washing, and did $250,000. How did he do it? By sticking to his pricing, right? You do the things that you do the other little things, people don't care about price. If you don't answer your phone, you don't get them quotes back, you don't follow up, you don't ask for reviews, you don't have reviews, you don't do all these other things, guess what? That's where you're going to be at. You're going to be stuck there. Yes. And you know what? You might have to drive to that area. Average income in Cynthiana, Kentucky is $40,000. That's where Nathan lives at. But in Lexington, South Lexington's $140,000. He's got to drive 45 minutes to an hour to get to his target market. I personally, from Northern Kentucky to get up there, was 45 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on freaking traffic. It used to drive me nuts, but it literally would take you anywhere from 45 to an hour and a half to get to the north side of Cincinnati. But it was worth it for me to be able to get those high-end tickets, all of that, all over there. It's crazy. I've done $1.20 square feet before just because it was so hot outside, and they paid it, right? And they paid it. And you know what I love about that? It's the same reason why I love when people do Christmas lights, because people will realize that, hey, you know what? They will pay you money. And so if you are selling, the number one thing about pressure washing and the number one thing about selling and pricing is it's not about the price, and we're not selling pressure washing. If you're selling pressure washing, you're going to have an average ticket of $400, and you will probably be booked out for 6 weeks, and you will be at that range, right? And that is selling pressure washing. You know, we went down to out in Myrtle Beach. We did my class with Chris Johnson, and we literally watched him take a $400 window cleaning and turn it into a $3,300 sale. Like that. He assessed her. He found out what her love language was. He found out what her disc was. And you're like, Jason, what are all these crazy things? Right? It's not about selling pressure washing. It's about figuring out who the person is and selling on that, right? If they're an S, which 80% of the country is 80% of the people are S, it's in disc, it's part of the S. And if they're an S, right? If you talk too fast, you just outsold yourself. If you didn't listen to them, you just got rid of it. If you tried to push, they just canned you and you're gone. You don't matter what you do, you'll never get the sale, right? And so when you learn these things, it's up here, even when we're selling. And you know, when Chris goes out there and does his in-person sales, he's at a 60% close rate at an average ticket of over almost $1,600, right? And so when people say you can't get that and it's crazy, you're right. You are crazy because you don't believe that you can get that. And so it can be done, and it's awesome when you do this, right? It's awesome because now, you know, and I'm going to hit on one other thing here. This is one thing that when I started putting 1 and 2 made 5 things together, the people that I've been talking about tonight have went to this many trainings. Zero. None. They figured out how to do pressure washing on their own, and they've never been to a convention. They've never done anything to further their education so that they could learn how to sell better, right? Learn how to market better. Learn how to present to people. And, you know, this is something that when I started thinking about that, I was like, everybody that has called me or that, you know, that I've, the 3-4 people that I'm talking about that I've had that conversation with this week, every one of them, not one of them has been to a training, not one of them. And so when I look at that, then, and they've never spent any money in investing in themselves. They've never taken any classes. They've never done anything. And you might say, Jason, you're trying to sell stuff. You're trying to, I would bet they haven't read books either. I would almost bet they haven't read any books either. And so when you don't invest in yourself and learn how to better yourself, you know, I was talking to Jeremy Main, and he's been investing in himself a lot. He's probably put 20 grand in himself just this year alone. And just that there alone, he's like, every time I invest in myself, it's like money comes pouring into me, right? Because when you don't invest in yourself and you think you know it all, I know it all, you don't learn things about this map here. You don't learn things about how to talk to the customer better. You don't learn how to know what people's love languages are, and you don't understand that stuff. And you know what? You don't have to go to classes, don't get me wrong, but everybody that I'm talking to, they haven't been to one class on any of this stuff. And you know what? When you look at it that way, they've been to class of YouTube, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, they've been to class of YouTube, but this is something that will set you apart. You know, I can show you a guy doing $2 million a year. $2 million a year. His name's Wesley Bloom, and his goal for 2023 is $2.7 million and doing $800,000 in Christmas lights, and he's going to do over $3.5 million in 2023, and I believe he'll do it no problem. You know, I bet you, when he was on my live here, he had read 60 books the year before when I had him on my live. 60 books. And you know what else he does? He invests in himself. He's in a bunch of masterminds, and I bet you he pays probably 50 grand to $75,000 a year investing in himself in different masterminds and getting around smart people. When you get around smart people, it will rub off on you. If you're around a bunch of dummies, guess what's going to rub off on you? I hate to say it, but you're right, the dummy part. And so when you get around smart people, it will help you get you to where you want to go at. And so this is things that you can say whatever you want to say, but this is why it is important that we understand in how to run a business. What happens to you if you fall down and fall off of a ladder? You slip and break your leg. Your business is nothing. Your business is gone at that point. And so this is why it is important that you understand this so you can do this. Send them to the 10X boot camp. You do that the rest of your life. Exactly. And so 100%, we don't read books, we clean houses. And you do that the rest of your life. And you're 100% true, Nathan. Nathan's 21 and 22 years old and will do 10 times more than Al will ever even think about doing. Why? Because he's investing in himself young. And if I knew if I knew now what I knew what Nathan knows now, I would be in a completely different spot than I am even right now today. And so it is important that you open your mind, you learn, you never stop learning. You know, the area around me make up to $300,000 a year, right? And so that's good. That's a good place to be at, right? You got to read the customer and how they word and express what they want done to their house. And it's not even so much what they want done to their house. We want to know everything about them. We want to know why they called us. Did they call us because the husband ain't getting none, because the wife's been nagging at him for 3 months trying to get the house cleaned? Is that why? Right? And that might be the case. Is it that she just wants people there at the house and she just likes a clean house? I know several people have been saying, man, that house wasn't even dirty, and now they're going back again and cleaning again this year. And the house wasn't even dirty last year because they clean it so often. And that's fine, right? We don't have to be the person to tell them how often they clean their house. And if we do, we can say, hey, we got a people that clean it twice a year, once a year, whatever it might be. In Florida, they might clean it twice a year. They just want a clean house. They're a clean freak, and guess what? A clean freak wants a clean house. We can give them a clean house. We'll give them whatever they want, right? And when we listen to them and we find out about their kids and we find out about their grandkids and we find something in common and we go down that rabbit hole and we become friends with them, and people buy from people we know, like, and trust. People aren't going to know, like, and trust you by just looking at you and you talking about pressure washing. They're not going to know, like, and trust you at that point. But if you can build that relationship of know, like, and trust, it will help you in the end. I guarantee you, it will help you in the end. 110% will help you in the end. Let's see. Where do I find these classes? Well, go look online. I also have, I know that you kind of did it here, but these are my in-person classes where I've been pushing more. My last class, we did a lot of this. The second half of the second day, the half day of it, we talked about disc. I actually pay for you to do the disc test. The disc test does cost money. And so I pay so that you can have your disc test, so then that way you can look at the results, and then you can take the love language test, and then we talk about it in class, and we showed how it worked even in sales. We had a guy that was high C. I mean, he's like high C. He was worried about EPA. He was all his questions over the whole weekend. When we found out, we kind of knew what he was, but when everybody found out, then it was kind of a light bulb moment. Oh, this dude likes to know all the information. Even when he was selling, instead of trying to just get to the sell or whatever, he had to keep giving the data, right? Because the C person is a data-driven person. They're your engineers, they're your doctors, they're the people that want to know data and want to know it a lot, a lot. How important would you say it is to learn other love languages? Well, how important is it with your wife to learn it, right? It's pretty important. It's even important doing it with theirs. If you know that if you pull up and it's a dude that has this big jacked up truck and boats and all this stuff, his love language is probably words of affirmation, right? And if you're like, man, that's an awesome, right? You're just feeding that. You're just making that dude's mind blow out of here, and he's going to love you to death because you're making him feel like $1 million. And so that is definitely something to think about. Aflac insurance would help too. It ain't going to help your business much. That's more than Nashville. Some people think it's all about cleaning. More goes into it. The cleaning part is I can pay I've paid many 18 and 19-year-olds $15-20 an hour. The cleaning part is $18 to $20 an hour, $15 to $20 an hour. It's a lot more than that, right? I always say working on different tasks. If you're working on the truck, you're doing a $15 to $20 an hour task. I literally can pay somebody $15 to $20 an hour. What can you do to be working on the $100 an hour task? What can you be doing to working on the $1,000 an hour task? Jason, there ain't no $1,000 task. What if you took a picture and you put it in the right places and it made you over $1,000 an hour, right? There is places that you can make $1,000 an hour. Well, you can't invest in yourself young because you don't have the money. Why? That's why if only I knew what I knew when I was 25. But I don't agree with that 100%, because I can show you people like Nathan that is investing in himself and he is learning. He did do the Grant Cardone stuff, and he's been to 2 of my classes and he's been to other classes, and he does things so that he keeps learning. And so, it is something that it is a mindset. Where do you want to put your money at? I got Tristan. He's a young gentleman that's learning a lot. So these are things that we can do to be able to do this. I'm too old to be the milkman. It's time to wash. He says it's time for you to wash. I'm in DI. Yep. The lonely housewife, love my shooter tip. $75,000 on education. Most people don't even make that in a year with two incomes. You know what you say about if something sounds too good to be true. You don't know anybody that makes $2 million a year in this pressure washing business either, do you? I bet you don't. And so if he's making $2 million, he's doing pretty well. And I'll promise you, he's in very good profit because I know how he is on financial stuff. He's actually got his financial degree, and he's very smart. Very, 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 very smart. Do you have any experience with fleet washing prices? I don't. I'd lie if I tell you. The only thing I can tell you about it is they're cheap. They do like semis and anywhere from 18 to 50 bucks a pop. They're pretty cheap. Jason, I'm ready for Christmas lights. Houston people are rich. Yep. I love Christmas lights. And so if you want to do Christmas lights, you want to do I am having a Christmas lights training for permanent lighting. It will be for the Cincinnati class. That will be permanent lighting class. You can go check it out at KP Train. It will be for the Cincinnati class, will be permanent lighting classes. Where's the class? Go check out King of Pressure Washer. I got one in Cincinnati, one coming up in July for Indy, and I got a couple in North Carolina in the wintertime, or in the September and October. You have to become a living marketing machine anywhere you go, and 100%. Oh, so he's a salesman with classes. No wonder these numbers are so outrageous. Yep, you can believe that too. So we got another person that believes you can't make money doing this. I'm telling you, hey Caleb or Nathan, what was your average ticket last year? What'd you end up doing? Right? A 21-year-old. You're right. Here, I got one. He won't give me his information. Hey Jack, what'd you do last year? Not that Jack. Sorry, wrong Jack. There's another Dave Hamill. I don't see him in here tonight. Dave Hamill, what'd you do last year? Right? What's the best structure to pay employees? Hourly, percentage, or both? This is one that I like percentage because I know my cost, right? If I do 15%, I know what my cost is. Even if I do 15%. So what I did is 15%, and then I did a 3% bonus so they could earn up to 18%. And that way, that's where it is. Now, even if you're at 18%, you're still going to be at 25% by the time you pay payroll tax, you pay all the other stuff that goes along with having an employee. So that's some things to think about when we do it. If we do it by hourly, right? Sometimes we don't know our cost. And it can get, even if we pay percentage, we got to know what their hourly is because I know a lot of people will pay 15% or $15 an hour, whichever is higher. So that way, if the 15% don't make it, then they get onto the lower plan there. Have my Google My Business reviews up to 75-star reviews and got my first job from the reviews alone. Thank you, Jason, for all your profitable advice. Awesome. I have a 3,200 5-gallon Briggs & Stratton pressure washer. You think that's a good starter? Yeah, it'll work for sure. Good thing this chat's delayed, so I warn folks that they're not to buy into this scam. I mean, I'm sure you probably learned something from 75,000, but bro, keep shopping. I like my mindset as a poor mindset, right? We're gonna argue here. Me and Al, we gonna argue. We're gonna argue. We're gonna show that this is snake oil. I used to do decks for $2 a foot because I wasn't smart enough to do them more than that. And then I learned from Jason. I got up to $6, $7 a foot and started making money. And holy crap, people pay it. And I love you too, Al. I'm just giving you a lot of crap tonight. I know. Not just you, other people too. What's up, Jason? Jason's the best. Jason is a scam. What a joke. Haha, I love you, man. All the haters just can't get past the broke mindset. It is so true, man. And this is my heart, right? I want to help you guys. My goal is to help 1,000 people make 100 grand a year, because I know that is life changing, and you will change your life with that. You can get out of the broke mindset. You can start having time freedom. You can start having financial freedom, right? But you got to believe that you can do it yourself. When you have a mindset that everything's a scam and it's too good to be true, that is the worst thing you can do. Is there people that do talk about snake oil on this? Absolutely. I can show you 10 people on YouTube right now that's selling you snake oil, and I guarantee you, and it ain't even people selling you classes. A lot of it is marketers, right? It's marketing. Here, we're going to get you 100 jobs. Buy this website, pay $200 a month, and you're just going to have so many leads coming in. I can show you a bunch of them. It ain't just one or two. It's a bunch of them. And this is something that it is what it is, right? He just wants attention. You're right. Christmas lights was $21.63. Didn't keep up on the wash. Average ticket for Christmas lights was $2,100.63 or $63. I got my money. What's up? Thanks for the super chat. Yo. Going for big numbers this year, and how many money bushes should we be doing a month? I want to be at 1,000. I would probably do 200, at least 200 a month. I did 230 last year, but I don't know if that's overkill. I don't think so. It depends on how big your area is. Depends on if they're pulling them up or not. Those are kind of the things to think about on your signs. No, you didn't, DJ. You didn't do no 230,000. You liar. Because I don't believe anybody. You can't do that in my area. If you pay them good, they'll stay right. Yep, 100%. If you don't believe what Jason says, do the opposite and see what works for you. You must be one of those $99 guys. I work for a pressure washing company in California, mostly commercial work. How do I get contact with the right people at businesses and franchises? What kind of franchise are you looking at? But businesses is you're doing LinkedIn, you're doing flipping rocks, going knocking on doors, and then the other way is cold email marketing. I only did 80,000 with a full-time mechanic job, going full-time this year. Cool. Always shop price. Hey, I'm back. My name is Michael. I'm king of pressure washing addicted. I have a question. Have you seen these setups that combine 12 volt and pressure washer? Pretty neat stuff. Actually, I haven't seen too much. Are you talking about for the downstream injector where it's down injecting it? I know what you're talking about, but I don't know. 100,000, that would be awesome. Well, that's my goal, is helping people. 99-cent super chat. Mr. Zachary, watch Alec Hermosi. He preaches self-education. He spent his last 10,000 sleeping on the floor of the gym to learn from people who know more. Now look where he is at now. YouTube star child. Yep. I love watching Alex. He gives so much information. He's there to help everybody, and he gives so much stuff there. What's the better, flyers or yard signs? I would say yard signs is going to do better. Flyers is only going to get to one person. Yard sign can hit 40,000 people in the right intersections. So Daniel, join the local BNI. Yep. Get in the big business groups in the area. That helps. X6, I don't know what that is. How do I get the impossible clients to start saying they need to talk to their wife or husband? Overcoming the objections, right? Grant Cardone has a whole book on this. Overcoming objections. Hey, one way, Is she available on the phone? Can we call her right now and see if that's okay? Or you can say, hey, we can book this. And then if she has a problem, you can give me a call back and we'll take it off the books, right? Either which way. Most of the time, that's a way that they're trying to get an scapegoat to not do it in the first place. So that's some ways to do it. How long does it take how long does it take you to make a website? I need to talk to you. I'm going to have to call you probably because something went wrong with I don't know if the payment, I don't know what happened to the payment or whatnot, Thomas. If I get it going, I'll have you up by the end of this week is what my goal is. I'll call you one day this week and I'll talk to you about it. And I know you signed up, but it didn't go through all the way. I don't know what happened. So I'll have to see. And my Stripe has been stupid. I think everybody's Stripe is stupid. But would X-jetting a tile roof yield decent results, or do I need to soft wash system? You can put a 4% up there if you throttle it down. Depending on how bad it is, you may need to go stronger than that. Mount Sterling, yes, X6. How do you grow your... Oh, I know who you're talking about. You're talking about... Shit, he used to be in my membership. I know who you're talking about. How do you grow your business in the high dollar area? Yard signs alone? Nope. Lots of different ways. You know, most people that I talk about that have grown their business don't just get business one way. Pete, like Chris, he had 22 different ways that he got customers, right? It's not just one way and this is the only way to get business. What I always tell people is do one or two in the beginning and get good at it before we try to do other things. So that way we can figure out what we can do good and then we can grow from there. Jason, any tips or on pricing commercial storefronts for reoccurring cleanings? They only want the fronts clean, thanks. Yeah, so you're going to be a little bit cheaper when we're doing this because we're going back. And if we're going back more often, it's not going to take you as long. And so usually the first cleaning will be a little bit higher. And then after that, the cleanings usually will be whatever it is. So I did a Chick-fil-A and I thought that I could do it pretty quick. And I thought I could get it down to 2 hours a day, and I couldn't. It was just... I was only doing it once a month, and I was at 3 to 4 hours a month. So I did it for the year that I said I would do it, and then I quit because I wasn't making enough money on it per trip. So just kind of make sure that you know what your cost is. And when we're doing that, it is a little bit different than house washing. The Closer Survival Guide. Yep, that's the Grant Cardone book that I was talking about. Peter, listen to the book, The Closing Guide. Yep. We should start putting out... When should we start putting out signs? So you possibly could start putting them out now. I wouldn't get too crazy on them. What I always tell people is when people start mowing grass, that's a good time to put them out there. When people are walking around their house and they're mowing their grass and they're looking at the dirty house, that's a good time that we need to be out there. And so that's going to determine where you're at and what time of year it is for you. If you're in the pollen states, a lot of people aren't going to touch it till pollen's over. So these are some things that you can definitely do for sure. You think this is a good decision, right? Does your wife think you would make bad decisions? That's a good way to put it. That's a Grant Cardone one for sure. Homozy paid $100,000 to talk to Grant Cardone 3 times. Yep, because it's all in where you get where it is. Looks like some people are about to get blocked. There is like 2.5 hours of how to handle every objection. Yep. How can I stand out from the competition without bragging about yourself? Have other people brag about you. Get your 5-star reviews. If you work the groups right, a lot of times they will start working you versus the other way. Put out how many yard signs. You know, are you doing Google ads? Are you doing Facebook ads? How are you marketing your business? How are you doing everything for you? Memorize that and you will be killer. It's all a lot, but I'm working on it. What do you say to customers on the phone when selling packages? Usually I'm going to tell them that if we use ResponsiBid, which we'll be sending you a quote, and then you can talk a little bit about the packages, that there'll be 3 different packages coming, so that way they understand the packages. Or you'll be just send them the quote and you might have a video that talks about the packages. So there's different ways that you can do that. What was the name of that book? It's what's it called? Let's see. The Closer Survival Book. Facebook had World to Do Great at the end of the year and the beginning of the year. Yep. Jimmy Hall. That's who. Yeah, Jimmy Hall. Name on the X6. Jimmy Hall is a great guy, for sure. I just paid $500 for a 10-minute lesson. The mechanic came out, pulled out his wrench, cracked open a fuel line cap on my diesel, put on a little bit of fuel in it, and said, "You're good to go." Paying for knowledge and lessons is the best way to remember things. I definitely won't call a mechanic next time I run out of fuel. Yep. Right? Thank you. Literally 150 closes. The Closer Survival Book, the book, buy the book and the audio. Something you need to practice. Well, like I say, definitely if you want to learn, if you want to do the in-person classes, I will be doing a class with the what you call it, permanent lighting. And then you can go check that out. Also, if you want to go check out the membership, you can go check out it, kingofpressurewash.com. In there, I have all the lessons in there of how to start and grow a business. If you don't want to pay for it, you can go through my 1,000 videos, and I've got them out there somewhere. In the membership, I actually have them one by one. But the biggest thing about the membership is every Monday night we do a Zoom call where people come and ask questions. And on Monday night, it's marketing and sales. So that way you can learn how to close and how to sell better and how to market better. So go check it out. And then last, if you need a website or you need, did you know that not answering your phone costs you $250, $300? Well, it might cost some people $200, but it could cost you $300, $400 every time you don't answer your phone. I have a system that will help you make sure you answer the phone, that if you don't answer it, it will send a text, and then we can start texting back and forth. Also, if you get a form filled out on your website, did you know most people, if you don't get back within that form to that customer, it's like 95% chance you won't close that customer if it's more than 5 minutes. Well, I've got a system that it will text you as soon as you get the form, and then it will call you, which then you can call it will call the customer for you right away within 2 minutes of that lead coming in. So it is definitely something that will set you apart from your competitors, of you getting that phone answered and calling them back and getting it done. Folks, if you need to raise your prices, now is the time to do it. People are very understanding right now. 100%. People, they know all prices are going up. Do you recommend soaping and rinsing with a soft wash system or rinse with X-Jet nozzle? I don't recommend soaping or rinsing with a soft wash system. I do it with either a downstream injector, or I will do it with a gas pump, but I wouldn't do it with a 12 volt that way. 2023, let's go. Let's blow it up. Blow it up, blow it up. Jason, what service is that? kingofmarketing.io is where that is at. kingofmarketing.io is what system that is. It is where it is. But I hope you all have a great night, and we'll talk to you all later. I think I did stir enough people up. If I did, give me a thumbs up for the heck of it, right? I'd appreciate it. Or leave me a message, even after the fact. I love getting people jacked up on Mountain Dew and losing their mind. Thank you, Jason. I'm out. This was a really good live tonight.